Chinese, the world's most spoken language, a language full of history and culture which stands as the only potential candidate to overthrow English as a lingua franca, and nobody wants to learn it. Now I can certainly agree that having to get used to tones made me want to jump off the Great Wall, but most people don't know about tones. Most people don't study Chinese because of this. This is a Chinese character, not to be confused with these types of Chinese characters. They're what people in China used to write, so while you were busy learning your ABCs, people in China had to learn their... Alright, it's no surprise that Chinese has a lot of characters. In fact, it's probably what scares so many people away from the language. But first, it's important to make clear three things. Chinese characters are more like words than letters. We'll get to this. By extension, most people in China don't need to know what this character means just as much as you don't need to know what a parallelepiped is. So, in reality, you only need to know about 3,000 characters. Now that's definitely less than, this. But it's still probably more than the 26 characters you're used to using. That said, memorizing Chinese isn't as much of a task as you may believe it to be, because unlike so many other writing systems, Chinese bases their characters on meaning rather than sound. Mostly. We'll also get to that. Chinese characters can actually be classified under different categories. The most basic of these are called pictograms. You've probably heard in the past that Chinese characters are actually just pictures, and that's exactly what these are. Pictograms are very simplified depictions of the object it's trying to represent, like tree, or fire, or person. What? This is how people look at China. Don't be such a bigot. Well, pretty early on the people of China realized that creating a new character for every concept in the known universe would be kind of dumb. So they at some point stopped making pictograms for new characters and instead started smashing them together to create a whole new category of characters called compound ideograms. For instance, we have this character, which means prisoner. This is what makes Chinese so easy to memorize. Each character contains some sort of image or set of images you can use to construct your own story to help you memorize the character better. It doesn't even matter if the story doesn't completely line up with the meaning of its parts. So long as it works for you, it works. Take this character for instance. Every time I see it, I see a little leprechaun hat over a 4-leaf clover and think of green. Or this character. I always think of a husband beating his wife with a stick for not going upstairs fast enough to make him rice. This was actually the story our teacher used to teach us this character. It meant floor. Okay, moving on. Now there's two more important things to cover. Firstly, we have radicals. Radicals are basically just pictograms that have been distorted in some way to make them fit into characters more easily. They're kinda like the prefixes or suffixes of Chinese. For instance, when you see this radical, you should know that that character has something to do with animals. Secondly, once you really start getting into Chinese, you may soon notice a lot of characters that you have already learned are making reappearances in places where they really shouldn't belong. Look at this character from before, right? This bit here means silk, which makes sense for a word about color, but this character here means to copy. Unless the ancient Chinese were making counterfeit US dollars, this character seems a little bit out of place. Well, that's because they're not using this character for its meaning, they're using this character for its sound. This character is pronounced lu, and sounds a lot like how this character is pronounced lu. So the people who first used the character just took it and slapped a radical on the side so people knew what the character was about. It's why characters such as ma mean mother and not horse lady, much to the dismay of many furries. These types of characters are known as semantic phonetic characters. Phonetic because it has a phonetic indicator, and semantic because they're Jewish. So that's how the Chinese write. Is it easier to learn than phonetic writing systems? Oh Christ no, but it's far from difficult. Many people are so unwilling to learn Chinese because of them, but most people think they're hard because they never tried to learn them in the first place. So go try to learn Chinese and then give up because tones are bullshit. Thank you for watching this video. This was brought by Duolingo. I missed a Chinese lesson and now the owl is threatening me to make this video or else he'll bring back this dead-ass meme.